Some people just can't get past that rubbery texture. But tofu enthusiasts say it's all in how you prepare it. Tofu is a great source of protein, low in saturated fat and cholesterol-free. And it's versatile, absorbing whatever flavors surround it. Tofu is made from soybeans, the seeds that grow in the pods of the soybean plant. They contain 40% protein, more than double the protein in beef or fish. They start by soaking the soybeans in cold water for 18 to 24 hours, depending on the season. In winter, beans are stored in outdoor silos and take time to warm to room temperature. Here's what the beans look like before and after soaking. As they absorb the water, they double in size and soften up a bit. The bloated soybeans go onto a conveyor belt, where a rotating device transports them to a crushing machine. The machine crushes them into a thick and grainy soup of soybean milk and pulp. It does this by forcing the beans through an internal filtering screen. Next, they transform the soup into a paste by heating it in a steam cooker for 3 to 4 minutes. Then it's into a centrifuge machine. As the chamber spins, the centrifugal force separates the milk and pulp. The milk passes through a cone-shaped filter, while the pulp, called soy meal, sticks to the sides of the chamber. The soy meal goes off to be sold for cattle and pet food. The milk stays behind to be transformed into tofu. Still piping hot, it goes into a coagulation tank to be thickened into curd. But first, they add different herbs and spices because this batch will be sold as flavored tofu. Then they add the coagulant, magnesium chloride, along with water to activate it. Then more stirring. It takes about 15 minutes for the soybean milk to congeal into soybean curd, otherwise known as tofu. When it's ready, it's still steaming, but pretty soggy. So they run it through a perforated cylinder to drain as much liquid as possible. By the time the tofu comes out the other end of the cylinder, it's relatively dry and roughly the consistency of scrambled eggs. Now it can be processed into those familiar blocks you buy at the supermarket. They transfer the tofu into large rectangular molds lined with cheesecloth. Then it's into a press that applies 130 pounds of pressure. This squeezes out most of the remaining liquid and molds the lumpy, loose tofu into a firm rectangular block measuring 15 by 29 inches. They cut the block lengthwise and widthwise into 54 blocks of 10.5 ounces each. Tofu is pretty tasteless, but like a sponge, it absorbs the flavor of whatever it comes into contact with. They drench this batch in a spicy marinade to make jalapeno-flavored tofu. After verifying the weight of each block, they package the tofu with a sprinkle of spices for garnish. Then, to kill off any bacteria, the blocks go into a pasteurizer at 230 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour. When they come out, they drop into a cooling basin filled with water just above freezing temperature. They stay submerged for about an hour. Tofu comes either pre-flavored or plain. It also comes in different textures. Firm tofu maintains its shape in soups and stir-fries, while soft tofu and soaken tofu are ideal for blended dishes and desserts.